In today's video, you are going to learn all of the skills that you need to master in order to single leg stand for 10 seconds. Yes, if you cannot single leg stand for 10 seconds, technically you're at a little bit of an increased risk for falling. If that is you, you definitely want to be working on that single leg standing, and in that case, this video is perfect for you. If you're new to this channel, I'm Tara. I'm a neurologic physical therapist, and on this channel we talk about anything and everything related to mobility, health, fitness, and mindset in the context of neurologic injury, with the end goal of empowering you with as many tools as possible to take ownership of your rehab and your health to live an overall more active, more mobile, pain-free, happier, healthier life. And all that said, if you are someone who cannot single leg stand for 10 seconds, you definitely want to be working on that daily. Now, who are some of the people that watch this channel might have problems with single leg standing? If you're someone that has hemiparesis, weakness on one side of your body, it might make it difficult to stand on that weaker leg. So that's one reason, weakness. Another reason is hemi-neglect, meaning that you neglect one side. I've talked about this in a lot of videos, but just very briefly, when you have neglect, your midline changes, so where your brain thinks the middle of your body is, that can shift a little bit, and so therefore you can't really center your body, or it's harder to center your body over that involved leg. Some people have a field cut. That can also impact your ability to single leg stand. And finally, something called pusher syndrome. I've done an entire video on this. This will help a little bit if you're someone who just has maybe like a little bit of pusher syndrome, which has happened. You see a lot of severe cases of pusher syndrome, but I have had patients where a caregiver told me, oh yeah, the medical team had mentioned that early on, but someone's up and walking, which is great. So some people have a little bit of that pusher syndrome left, and that will also impact your ability to single leg stand. Now, what do all of these things have in common as far as why they make it hard to single leg stand? They all have something to do with your visual spatial awareness, where your body is in space, and some potential problem with controlling your muscles. So what do we need to do? There's two things you have to focus on. You have to focus on improving your spatial awareness, or reorienting your brain to midline and vertical. In some cases, some of the literature suggests that some people just aren't oriented to vertical, meaning that when vertical is here, they think they're here, so they're not oriented to vertical. So we have to work on ways to improve that visual spatial awareness, and then also the motor control. The motor control components that are somewhat challenging are, of course, keeping that leg straight when you're standing on it, but also the coordination to shift your body weight over that leg. Some people, it's literally just a coordination issue, being able to coordinate the hip, knee, and ankle to shift your center of mass over a single leg. When you don't do that, that leg is out to the side, your body is over here, and it will make standing for even 1 second hard, but it'll make standing for 10 seconds near impossible if you're not centered over that limb, okay? So coordinating hip, knee, and ankle muscles to center your center of mass over a single leg. So those are the two things we're going to go over in today's video to ensure that you're working on that single leg standing time. But before we dive into that, if you're new to this channel, we do have a membership program. This video will have a PDF handout that goes along with it, so you don't have to keep coming back to this video, but you can just print the PDF handout, take it to the rehab area in your home, and make these exercises extremely easy to implement into your home exercise program. Those handouts are available to our gold and our bronze monthly members. To learn more about our memberships or to sign up, you can visit www.rehab-hq.com. And now let's dive into today's exercises. All right, so step one, you start sitting. So what does this do? First, it makes you feel more comfortable. Second, you can really just focus on that midline. Positioning your body directly over your hips, it's a lot easier because you feel safer. And then if you are someone that has neglect, you definitely want to work on crossing midline. So something to cross midline. If that begins with you just starting and touching the wall, then start there. Now, you see this setup on my legs, very, very, well, I think important for most people, is people will start shifting their feet around. You won't even know you're doing it, but it's like your body will start looking for a way to get leverage without actually bearing weight on this leg. Our brains are very adaptive, and very quickly we learn how to compensate for a weaker leg. So this does two things. It really helps, it doesn't eliminate the ability to compensate, but it really helps to minimize your ability to compensate with a stronger leg. And then the yoga block between the feet is important because people do a variety of things with their feet. And again, this is all unconscious, but some people, if you're leaning this way, you'll start to work this foot over so that it's almost like you're trying to use that foot to leverage yourself. Some people do just the opposite and they bring that foot out to the side, but this just helps to kind of keep you honest that you're keeping your legs directly under your body. Strapping the knees together does a couple of things. A lot of times, or sometimes, the knee will flop out to the side. Then you're not going to get like good weight bearing down through that leg. So start sitting in a chair, but eventually try and shift to something that's maybe a little bit narrower. That'll just force your body to have to work a little bit harder to keep you balanced. As usual, or for anyone that's new, I love a corner. It provides boundary lines, right? So that if you hit, it kind of gives you feedback. Oh, I'm outside of midline, which some of you might actually even take you hitting the wall to realize that. The other thing is if you can't see this wall, put a little sticker or something on this wall and occasionally glance at it to make sure you can see this side. And then you're just going to reach. You can start reaching across, and then eventually, and this is going to be hard for some of you, reach down. That'll really load that leg, and then can you push back up? A lot of you aren't going to be able to do that. Try not to work your hand down through your leg this way. I see that quite a bit because people don't want to shift. And then make sure you're not shifting away. That's something else that I see quite frequently, right? So you want to really think about getting your shoulder over the outside edge. It's kind of like you got to peer over the edge of the cliff and then reach down. Okay, and really pay attention or have someone watch you to make sure you're not doing anything crazy. Everyone's brain is a little bit different and they do different things to not have to shift over there. So again, we're trying to work in the early stages, just work on shifting that body weight and then down and then come back up. All right, and then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to actually try and get a little bit more loading on that leg. How do you do that? Some of you might need to use your assistive device. You want to put it to the involved side of midline. So a lot of you are used to having your cane over here on your uninvolved side. You either want it very close to the middle, preferably across midline, middle. If you need to lift that hand up there to lift it up there, grab it with both hands. Now you're going to try and lean forward, and you're going to try and just do a little bottom lift and down. Okay, so I'm going to show you from the side so that you can see you do want your bottom kind of coming up, right? So you're going to do a little lean forward, lift, and down. Very, very little, okay? And then once you get good at that, you're going to lift a little bit higher and hold it, and then try and shift your hips towards that weaker side, okay? I try and tell people, think like you're washing a table underneath your bottom, okay? If you had a washcloth on your bottom, you're just trying to wash that table, really emphasizing getting those hips over, across midline, okay? That's step 2. And then the next step, you're going to do the same thing. Lean forward, lift, shift, heel lift. So I'm lifting this heel on my uninvolved leg. What that's doing is it's forcing me to load that leg a little bit more. So I'll show you from the side. You're going to come up, shift towards the weaker side, lift the uninvolved heel and back down, shift, lift, and back down. Okay, so again, from the front in a corner so that you're safe, lift, shift, heel, and back down. Once you get really good at that, you're going to try and do a little forward step. Notice we have not fully stood up yet. Very, very important. Even if you're someone who your stroke was 2 or 3 years ago, but you are still heavily, heavily leaning on an assistive device, these are great, great skills to never stop doing so that eventually, and you can be putting less weight on that assistive device, especially for those of you that are starting to get like wrist pain and stuff from doing that. This is a great progression, not just for those of you that have neglect, but for anyone where you can't single leg stand for that 10 seconds. So shift, lift, shift, and step, and back, and down, lift, shift, and step, back, and down. And then once you get good at that, lift, shift, tap on the block, and down. That is an absolutely critical progression for anyone who cannot single leg stand. But now let's go ahead and get into actual standing. All right, now still in a corner, using a chair, the back of a chair. You want to be about 6 inches away from the edge of that chair, and then you're just going to shift. Just touch your hip to that chair and don't move. You see that centers my belly button, but it also gives me some security. And then you're going to lift the opposite heel. Now I can already tell when I lift this leg, I'm falling back that way. So I need to be a little bit further away. And you're just going to lean into the chair. Literally lean into the chair. No problem with that. And just lift your opposite heel. We're using this right now as a little bit of a stabilization tool to get your brain and your body more comfortable being right on the edge of that cliff. The other thing it does is it allows you to relearn. Remember I said there is some coordination that needs to go on in the knee, hip, and ankle to learn that weight shift. So spend a lot of time on this. Really make sure you can easily do that weight shift onto this leg and keep that leg, that hip, and that knee somewhat straight to support your body weight. And then heel lift. And then once you get good at that, you can do a little toe tap and down. Toe tap and down. Still leaning in to the back of a chair. Okay? Now what we do is we turn the chair around. Okay? So that was giving you hip control. Now we're going to kind of bring the hip into it. And you're going to do the same thing, but now you're moving that support down a little bit. Okay? So same thing. Lean into it. Okay? Lift. Tap. And again, it's not cheating to lean into it. You're learning how to weight shift and feel comfortable with that, okay? And then down and shift back, okay? So shift, lean into it, lift the heel, tap, make sure this knee doesn't lock out, down and back. And then you don't move the chair, you just move away from it. So it's still there, right? You still know it's there, but now you're hovering near it. Shift, lift the opposite heel, either a forward step at the beginning or then that toe tap and down. And then from there, now we're going to get a little bit crazy for some of you. Chair's still here. Okay, you're going to lean into it and then put your feet in a straight line. Okay, leaning into the chair, using that chair for support. Once you get good at that, you're going to actually cross your legs. Very, very hard for a lot of you to cross midline and get that foot on the other side. But if you want to improve your single leg standing, this is absolutely essential. Okay, and then same thing, you would move away from it, shift, hover near the chair now, cross, and stand. And then the final step would be to shift and stand. If you can single leg for 1 second, your next goal would be 2 seconds. Your next goal would be 5 seconds, then 7, then 9. And before you know it, you will be single leg standing for 10 seconds, which I think should be on everyone's goal list. Okay, and then hover again, shift, lift the heel, lift the foot, 10-second hold. Okay, now if you guys can already do this and you want me to do another video with some more advanced single leg standing activities, definitely leave that in the comments below. But I've done some higher level videos recently and some people had mentioned that, oh yeah, they needed to remember to go back and do these single leg standing exercises. So I thought I would just make a video so that everyone remembered not to ever stop doing these exercises if you can't single leg stand for 10 seconds. If you're new to this channel and you like this kind of content and you want to see more of these videos, it would definitely help me out if you hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so that you will get notified every time I upload new videos. If you want to get exercises throughout the week, you can head on over to Instagram where I post 1 to 2 exercise videos every single week. Don't forget, we do have that membership program where you can print the PDF handout that goes along with this video that has all of the exercises in this progression. So to learn more about our membership programs or to sign up, you can visit rehab-hq.com. I enjoyed spending time with y'all today, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good day.